What is going on, guys? Johnny on the track back with another video here. And I did this last year and it seemed like people really liked it. It seemed like there were good comments, good questions, engagements were high, viewership was pretty solid. So I figured I'd do it again because it's fun, it's easy for me, and hopefully like it helps me build an audience of new viewers or people that want to get into betting NASCAR. And also just like gets more people to bet on NASCAR, which I think is fun. I think it helps everybody. So essentially this video is me explaining for anybody. It could be dummies who don't know anything about NASCAR. It could be, and I say that respectfully, just meaning like, NASCAR for dummies, right? Like that classic line. It could be somebody who loves NASCAR but hasn't dipped their toe in betting. It could be somebody who loves to bet but really knows nothing about NASCAR, how to bet NASCAR. So this is just a video that kind of tells you all the different options you have when betting NASCAR, and also like I'll kind of tie in how I would like do some of these, and how odds shift, odds change, and all that jazz. So I guess let me just start with the fact that most of the time, NASCAR races are on Sunday. So for the Daytona 500, it's the biggest race. There's so much to kind of that goes into it. A lot of teams announce, drivers announce, yada, yada, yada. But you have months and months to bet the Daytona 500. Like, I think you could have bet the Daytona 500 the minute the season ended last year. So you have plenty of time. But normally on a weekly basis, your race is on Sunday, and then odds usually drop around Tuesday morning. Sometimes Monday night, sometimes Tuesday night, but usually Tuesday morning is when you will get odds dropping for mostly just like a top three and a top five, as well as with like the winner of the race. So money lines basically, or outright bets, as we would call them. That's usually when they drop the odds and the lines, and you can get the most value on a driver, right? Because we haven't seen practice, we haven't seen them qualify. It might be a new track type, for instance, an intermediate mile and a half, as we would call it. A short flat track is a type of track. Um, a super speedway. So you just get value because, we just haven't seen the cars on the track. So I usually try to bet at least at least two to three drivers when the odds first drop, because that's when, in my opinion, you get the most value for somebody like, a really top guy that might be undervalued at that time, and you take a flyer on him. And then they close the lines as they're practicing, they close the lines as they're qualifying, and then they shift after all that. You get a fresh line, and that's usually how it will stay, unless people are betting on it right up until green flag, which again is usually Sunday afternoon. So that's basically like just, an overview of how the odds work. To get into some of the bets. So in my opinion, there are really four straight bets in NASCAR. You've got your outright winner, your money line on a driver, however you want to call that, the driver to win that race. And then you get top three, top five, and top 10. So again, you pick a driver. Are they going to finish top three, top five, top 10, or would they win, right? Those are the most common outright straight bets. If you listen to this show every week, my show will be on Tuesday nights. Every week, you will hear me mostly give out, mostly winners, top threes, top fives, top tens. Or I'll take a lean and say, I like this driver a lot. I would take him top three, definitely take him top 10, that sort of thing. So I might just like highlight a driver and, give you some leans to go on there. But those are the four most common types of NASCAR bets. Some books, or I don't want to say most, I'll keep it at some books, are pretty crap, complete shit. And that's all they have, right? They've got money lines, top threes, top fives, top tens, and that's pretty much it. If you get to a good book, you got DraftKings, FanDuel. I'm on Rhode Island Sportsbook, which is William Hill. You've got plenty of bets to choose from on top of just those main ones. But kind of all books are different. I feel like Hard Rock is still adding some stuff. Again, like there's just going to be books where that's kind of the main stuff you can bet. Um, then again, a larger book will have a lot of different prop bets. And there are so many prop bets you can go in NASCAR. And people, I feel like the kind of preconceived notion is like they're just going in circles. How can there be that many different bets to choose from? Let me name some. So finishing position for a driver is one, right? So under 13 and a half, or sorry, 13 and a half. You can pick the over. Will he finish over that 14th or higher, or will he finish lower than that? Will he finish better than that number? So they have that not for every driver, but for a good plethora of drivers, you can bet that head to head with drivers. Denny Hamlin versus Ty Gibbs. Who's going to win that matchup? Team matchups. Hendrick versus Gibbs. So you can bet team matchups. You can bet manufacturing matchups. Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, Chevy versus Ford, Ford versus Toyota, that sort of thing. I don't usually do head to heads, but um, when the season kind of gets going, and I feel like some of the books get lazy with NASCAR, you can't always do like a same race or a same game parlay. And one of the ways you can still do it throughout the season and kind of finagle the system, if you will, is doing a head-to-head matchup parlay. So you could say, I'm going to take Denny Hamlin over this guy, I'm going to take Chase Elliott over this guy, and I'm going to take Byron over Blaney, whatever. And you can parlay that together. Usually those are kind of even bets. So like, one guy might be minus 130, the other guy might be plus 130, that sort of thing. Usually they try to like even them up. So it's pretty much a 50-50 bet. But that's a way you can also craft up a parlay. They've also got the fastest lap of the race. Who's going to have that? The pole. So who is going to start first? So that would be like you bet it prior to qualifying, and then they all qualify, and whoever's finishes the best, that driver's on the pole. Stage winner is an interesting one. That's really a tough one. I don't really love betting on at the stage winner, but in NASCAR they split the race up into usually three segments: the first stage, the second stage, and the final stage. Obviously, the final stage would just be the winner of the race. So they do give you an option to take a stage one and stage two winner. I don't love that. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss. There's so many different factors that can go in, pit cycles, all that jazz. So it's tough. Um, Margin of victory is an interesting one. So like, 1 to 4 seconds, 4 to 6 seconds, less than 1 second. The Daytona 500, it's super, super close. So for instance, like 1/100th of a second to one uh, I don't even know, 1500ths of a second, something like that. Yeah, that's like minus 150. So if, that's obviously favored, then there's like any other, and then it goes to like, 700ths to a second, that sort of thing. So, you know, that's an option. Do they have that every race? Probably not. Kind of depends on like if it's a big race or not. Um, they also do, which, and one more that I should mention is overtime, the race to go to overtime. So NASCAR does do sort of like an overtime sort of fashion where if there's a caution in the last 3 to 5 laps or 2 laps, they could go to overtime and you can bet that happening. It's actually a favored outcome. It's minus 200 for the Daytona 500 just because, as people know, they always wreck on the last lap or the lap before the last lap. Everybody gets aggressive. So that's actually a favorite outcome, but they have that most races, and usually that hovers around plus 400. So sometimes there's a decent value to try to get overtime. Um, my favorite bet, and this is one that I came on. Not every book has this. Like DraftKings doesn't usually have this. I'm not really sure about FanDuel, but for me, it's on Rhode Island Sportsbook, and if you can find it, I would try to attack it. It's the winning team. So basically, it's a way to get if you like a manufacturer, you like a team, and you say, hey, I like uh, Kyle Busch, but I also like Austin Dillon this week. Then you can bet on their team. So obviously you would have to research the teams, but they would be Richard Childress Racing. So you can actually bet on them. And sometimes you'll find like, let's say Kyle Busch might be 35 to 1 to win the race. Well, that team bet might be 33 to 1. So in that case, you might just want to throw money on the team because at a place like Daytona, when anybody can win, you're also just going to get a free Austin Dillon bet with that. So that's an interesting one. Now, Joe Gibbs Racing, who's a top tier team, Penske, who's a top tier team, obviously Hendrick, who's a top tier team. They have, four drivers. So and they're all really, really good and really fast. So, again, sometimes that's about a plus 200, plus 120. Sometimes maybe a favorite outcome like minus 110. But still, I often find there's value on that because you're getting, multiple drivers to win a race, and you say, hey, I'm gonna put 150 on this. I know it's only plus 200, but I feel confident that one of these four guys is going to win that race. It's a good bet. I think there's been value on that. I've enjoyed betting that the last couple of years since Rhode Island Sportsbook added that. Group bets is an interesting one. So essentially, a group bet is, for instance, I'm going to read one out. So Group A for the Daytona 500 is Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski. So it's three guys. Odds are plus 200, plus 225, plus 310, plus 360. And you're just going to pick the guy that you think finishes the best of that group. Pretty straightforward. Again, this kind of gives you an incentive if you're looking for some of those back markers. I mean, they go way down with some of these guys. You can find some of those guys, right? You can say like, and maybe you like watching, or you root for kind of a mid-pack driver. This is going to give you an option to kind of lock in on him and bet on him, and give you something to root for him when he might not be able to win the race or even finish top 10. Hey, can he beat three other guys or four other guys he's going up against? I'm going to lock into that. So those are fun. I don't love them just because sometimes I feel like the way they make the groups, I'm like, are they really watching? But an interesting way. And then you've got parlays. So as I mentioned, later in the season, and I don't want to just this I could be giving false information because who knows, like 3 to 15 to 20 races from now. But normally the last few years or however long I've been betting NASCAR for, probably by like the middle of the season, you can't really do a same race or a same game parlay. So you can't say, I'm gonna pick this guy to finish top 10, this guy to finish top 10, this guy to finish top five and make it a parlay. Can't really do that. Um, they like got rid of those for a decent amount of time. They have them right now for the Daytona 500. Now, is that just because this is a huge race? It's the biggest event. They want people betting on it. They want people to do same race parlays. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe like, they're going to continue this, but there was a race. I want to say it was 2022. I mean, I can look it up right now because I know who won it. It was Austin Dillon. Might have been, might have been 2021. Let's check. Let's check this. Let's check this. Let's check this. Come on. Oh, geez, my laptop's going slow. Sorry, guys. Okay, okay, okay. 2022. There was a race where a lot of people were building on FanDuel these same race parlays. And at a super speedway like Daytona, really anybody has a legitimate shot to finish in the top 10, to finish in the top five, to finish in the top three, and to win. Everybody, because they have what's called restrictor plates. They can only go so fast. The way the track is banked, there's a lot of drafting. They're right on top of each other. The pack is so tight and so close. So really, anybody can win. And so in 2022, there was this race where, people were putting parlays on a lot of the back markers and saying, hey, this guy's going to do top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. And they had like, plus 2,000 or plus 1,000 odds. And they parlayed those together and had these huge, huge, crazy odd parlays. And what happened was there was rain, and drivers were alerting kind of NASCAR saying, hey, there's rain on the track, yada, yada, yada. They don't call anything. Literally, like three-quarters of the field wrecks, and all those people's bets won. And there were people placing like quarters to win like 10 grand, $1 to win 100 grand. I think someone won 1 million on a crazy parlay like that. All because, they gave us the option to do a same race parlay, and that kind of like NASCAR messed it all up with the weather there. But so for like a decent amount of time, they weren't there, but it's there now. So you can build a parlay for the Daytona 500. But again, as the season goes on, and if they do take those away, which I've seen it before, you still can build parlays based on matchups, which I mentioned, and finishing positions as well, if they're built in there. So you can get a, 13 and a half over under, 8.5 over under, and you can build a parlay out of that with different drivers. So that's one. And then another way that you can build a parlay is you can pick winners or top finishers from different races. So you can say, all right, I'm going to have, this guy to win the Daytona 500, this guy to win the Daytona truck race, and this guy to finish top three in the what's called the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. He's going to finish top three. You can build those. You can do like kind of a triple leg parlay with different races, work them out together. You can do win, 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 top 10, top 10, top 10. However you want to build it, they let you do that because it's different events. I've done a couple of those. I think I've hit like one or two, which have been pretty cool because it's obviously the odds change a little bit, but you could still do like some even money like top 10 bets and build yourself a parlay that's only about plus 400. But if you feel confident, you could do it. So there's that for parlays, and then finally, kind of the rare bets that are fun to place for like a buck, $5, $10 max. Um, an exacta, so you could bet on first and second. And, obviously those have super long odds. This guy to finish first, this guy to finish second, or a quinella, which is you pick two drivers and they just one, either one can finish first or second, but that's what you do. You pick both like a set of two drivers and they can finish, they just have to finish in the top two. And then they have a team triple, which they don't always show here. But essentially the team triple bet is it's a team, so it could be Penske who have three drivers, and that bet would be that one driver wins from the team. That usually it's picked for you. So one driver to win, one to finish top five, and one to finish top 10. So, for instance, I'm going to read the most favored one is Joey Logano to win, Ryan Blaney to finish top five, and Austin Cindric to finish top 10. That is a 50 to 1 bet. But my advice for you right now would be you definitely wouldn't want to take that because you can go to find winners that would be around 50 to 1 and have legitimate chance to win the Daytona 500. So, that is that. I know I talked a lot, I talked fast, but if you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Hopefully you thought this was helpful. Hopefully maybe you are interested and want to bet NASCAR and want to watch the show and get some betting advice. If that's the case, again, Tuesday nights, that's when this channel runs the betting show. But I wanted to do that, get it out there. Again, I received some good feedback last year, so I'm hoping that people enjoy it again this year. But for now, thanks. Get ready, keep getting ready. There we go. For the Daytona 500. I cannot wait. Again, great value. So if you did enjoy and want to bet, there's great value on the board right now. You can watch my best bets to make right now. That's a few videos back on the channel. So definitely lock that in. But as always, appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.